I'm building the ultimate mountain bike video game. It's been 6 weeks since we announced MAVRIX, my brand new open world mountain bike video game. And since then, there's been so much hard work, development, and actual gameplay that I can't wait to show you. But before we dive into that, let's have a look at where we actually are on the roadmap and what it means for you. So up to this point, I've been working with my small but very agile team at Third Kind Games to create what I believe is the most authentic mountain bike gaming experience. We've spent 500 days understanding and implementing insanely complex two-wheel bike physics, trying to understand rider animation, and building 25 square kilometers of epic, playable open world. So right now we're about here. We've announced, the trailer's dropping in a few days. All of that hard work is ramping up and continuing, but it's at this point that it gets really exciting. Early access in July. That's when you guys, the MAVRIX community, get to play the game, and whatever it is you get excited about, we will feed in to our development. So you actually get to influence the development and design of this game, which is so sick. That's why I'm buzzing about early access, because when you get hands-on, everything changes and you can come on board the journey. So I'm buzzing for the next part of the journey where your ideas feed into this part of the roadmap, but here are some of our key targets post early access. The first one is tricks. We want to add a full trick bag to the game, which is going to require loads of motion capture with pro riders. And that feeds into the second point, pros. Which riders do you want to see immortalized in MAVRIX? And that leads into the next one, brands. We've already done some deals with big companies, so Red Bull are on board, which is amazing. Obviously Marin is locked into MAVRIX, but with brands comes bikes and kit for you to unlock and customize and essentially ride. So I'd love to know what bike companies and what brands mean the most to you. Of course, there'll be so much more content inspired by you guys, but all of these updates will be free if you've already bought MAVRIX. That's why I'm so excited about early access. Like, going live with a beta version of the game means that we get the whole MAVRIX community together to build the best game possible. And obviously, there's console. We're actually working really hard on this, okay? And we've got a team lined up to start work on it this year, which is really exciting. That's gonna get MAVRIX into the hands of more of you as soon as possible. But thanks to the 20,000 people who have already wishlisted MAVRIX on Steam and Epic Games Store, because that really shows the consoles, PlayStation and Xbox, that there's huge appetite for this game, even when we're still in development. So what have we been working on that we can actually show you? In the last month, we've seen loads of comments around whips, so we got right on to addressing them. People didn't want like a canned whip where you press a button and it does a whip. So we've designed it so you can actually control your own whip. What you do is you decide how long you want to load it up for, kind of dependent on how big the jump is, and that triggers various different sizes all the way up to insane ones, which we actually motion captured. You can also choose how long the whip hangs out for, depending if it's a left hip, right hip, straight jump. You've got full control of these whips and it looks insane. The feedback has been mental. Oh! We've unlocked the front wheel now, so you can actually turn the bars while doing a whip, which really allows you to mix up the way it looks or table it out a bit. There's so much variety. Scrubs are locked in and we're working on an even bigger whip right now, which is gonna look completely insane. I love building, so we've been adding some sick racetracks that are gonna be super competitive on the live leaderboards, as well as some gnarly slopestyle tracks. You'll be racing for real world prizes, so we've made some of the racetracks pretty challenging, as well as some rather recognizable racing commentary. We've been adding tons of clothing customization options so you can grind challenges and unlock your own unique style. Let us know what clothing items you want us to bring to MAVRIX. So we've already added the enduro biking game, and now we're adding my Marin Quake downhill bike, which is super interesting because you have to tune and identify how a downhill bike should behave differently in a game with regard to grip, braking, big impact, bunny hops, tricks. All of that stuff has to actually be identified and tuned, which has been fascinating. But it's sick that we're going to have a downhill bike, which will probably be the more competitive bike when it comes to racing. Also, we've got a banging soundtrack coming together for the game. Some of the most iconic mountain bike songs that I grew up riding mountain bikes to and listening to is coming to MAVRIX. It's worth mentioning though that we are still in development. And although we're making loads of progress, there has been no end of setbacks, bugs, problems, which are all natural in game development. But honestly, some of them have been pretty funny. So my understanding is with video games that at one end you've got arcadey games that you can pick up, play, you might get bored after 5 minutes, you understand it straight away. At the other end, the other extreme, you've got full simulation games where it might take hours of gameplay and practice to understand the controls and find enjoyment from those games. I think MAVRIX sits somewhere in the middle where we've found a sweet spot, and this has been proven, where good mountain bike riders actually have a competitive advantage when it comes to our controls and our physics. Last year I hosted an event in London at the Red Bull Gaming Sphere where we invited brands, industry folk and pro riders to test the first playable build. And the fascinating thing was that it was the riders that set the best times, almost immediately. Better even than some of the people that helped develop the game. And the reason is that they have real-world bike experience and understand the separate braking, when to use the front brake, when to use the back brake, line choice round berms, flat corners, that you need to scrub jumps. It was so cool to see riders do well from their knowledge gathered from riding bikes. So I think between gamers and good mountain bike riders, this game is going to be insanely competitive. And I can't wait to see who it is that kind of makes a name for themselves on the global leaderboards. Right, I know that's been so much information, but the launch of MAVRIX is coming to Steam and Epic Games. And even in the last 2 weeks, there's been so much further development to optimization, where we're trying to continuously reduce the minimum specs required to run the game. We've been tuning the bike controller to allow more freedom, unlocking half cabs, linking manuals and wheelies together with bunny hops. We're tuning suspension to help make the bike behave more and more how it would do in real life. We've had comments that the jumps look unridden, so we've got a VFX artist adding dust effects, loam, dependent on what surface you're riding. And on my bikes, the actual Goodyear Wrangler tyre will be the tyre print left in the dirt, which is insane. We're working to add wildlife to the world. We've got the Hell Farm going in, which looks mental, and I can't wait to see riders using that. We've teased that there might be the Red Bull Hardline River Gap going in the game, but I'll leave more of that to the imagination because it's going to be mega. I'd say that was a pretty hefty but decent update. So you guys are now the MAVRIX community, and I can't wait to see your feedback and comments even on this video, especially with early access coming, now that you understand what it is and where you fit into the journey. And once again, please wishlist MAVRIX on Steam, and will also be available on the Epic Games Store. Legends.